And today we're actually to why the Kid LAROI disappeared from hip-hop. I could probably say, if it's like saying specifically from hip-hop, it's just the fact that it don't make more money than the pop lane that he went to, you know what I'm saying? But again, I haven't heard Buddy in a minute. Let's see, what happened to the white hip-hop dudes, bro? Jack Harlow, everybody just disappearing from the game? Post Malone, he said, nah, I ain't doing this rap thing. Again, bro, there's more money in the country, definitely the country, and more money in the pop than mess around with this rap stuff, and I think they're aware of that. They are definitely aware of that. They're more versatile to be able to do that. And thank y'all so much for 100K. I forgot to say it in the first video that I reacted to today. I don't know when y'all gonna see this. I don't want y'all to think that I'm just not noticing, bro. Thank y'all so much for the 100K, all the congratulations, bro. Just briefly, this channel is what helped me be able to do a lot of things that I'm doing. Last year around this time I had about 5K subs, bro. It's 100K this year. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep going and keep pushing, bro. You feel me?
Now, a few years ago, you might remember how there was a young rapper and singer who was catching a lot of buzz within the rap world. His name was the Kid LAROI, and a lot of his early success came from his connection to the late Juice WRLD. But here's the thing, after going on to have one of the biggest songs in the world with Justin Bieber, something strange happened. Hip-hop stopped talking about him. He went from being Juice WRLD's protege in the rap scene to quietly shifting into the pop world, where most hip-hop fans don't even check for him anymore. And that's what makes his story so interesting, because this isn't a case of someone falling off. On paper, LAROI is still massively successful, but his visibility in the culture he got to start in has faded. So, what really happened here?
I think it's one of those things where, let's say if Antonio Speaks was on here, he kind of used and abused the hip-hop culture, you know, black culture. Used that up, saw the lane open up in a different lane where he's gonna get more caught up, you feel me? And I said black culture like that. It is black culture. It's not even a quotation air bubble thing. It's, you know, kind of used black culture and then just grabbed his situation, tuck off, and ran it up, you feel me, in his new lane.
Let's talk about it together. Now, a lot of people recognize the face, the name, or both. The Kid LAROI, real name Charlton Howard, is a 22-year-old artist from Sydney, Australia. Music was always part of his world growing up. His mom was a talent manager with deep ties in the Australian music scene, and his dad briefly pursued a recording career before moving into music engineering and production, working with acts like Bardet and Delta Goodrem. LAROI himself got into hip-hop.
You could say he was a good little Australian boy for sure. Definitely. LAROI was a good Australian kid, man, for sure.
At an early age, listening to everything from Tupac, Lil Wayne, and Kanye West. By the time he was just 10 years old, he had already decided he wanted to make music for a living. Now, his mom was his biggest supporter, and she not only played his music around the house, but even stayed up late with him trying to track down contact info for rappers visiting Australia. That kind of support gave him the confidence to chase a dream most kids his age would have thought was impossible. And before anybody really knew his name, LAROI was out there hustling. He would literally wait outside hotels for big artists who came through Sydney, trying to get a chance to play them his music. At one point, he even sent a friend to play one of his songs for Sway Lee, and it worked. They connected, built a relationship, and eventually ended up collaborating years later. At the same time, he was recording raps over beats on his mom's phone and posting them to SoundCloud. That grind led him to place third in the 2018 Unearthed High Competition, a contest for high school artists run by Triple J, one of Australia's biggest radio stations.
When your parent is behind you, and this is like just a lesson for all of us people that are about to be parents, if you're currently a parent like now, like me, bro, support your children, bro, for real. Like, I'm even just whatever it is that they doing. I have a friend, his dad, you know, he was supporting that grind and getting him right for basketball related things. It didn't take him to the NBA, but when it just his stature, his build, all of that, he wasn't supposed to go as crazy as he did in basketball, bro. You know what I'm saying? He was a great hooper. You know, my mom, she let me know that I could do anything. She was supporting my hustle, my grind. If I wanted to hoop hard in basketball, she helped me get a shooting coach. If I wanted to do this music related thing, if I told her what I needed, she would try her best if she could get it. You know what I'm saying? If not, but you also got to teach them that, you know, they got to go and get it themselves too.
And that moment gave him his first bit of national spotlight. And I
think about stories like Metro Boomin shit, like even with his mom taking him up and down from St. Louis to Atlanta to run up his situation. bro, look at where he's at now. You know what I'm saying? And Lord rest his mother, bro. Like, that was such a tragic end. It hurt my heart to hear that. I don't even know Metro at all in real life. You feel me? But that situation, you know, was just so crazy, especially knowing everything that she did for him. Like, you got to go hard for your kids, bro. Go hard for your children.
15, he had already caught the attention of Lil Bibby, who signed him to Grade A Productions in partnership with Columbia Records.
I got to pause it again, bro. Bro, Lil Bibby, yo, I respect his hustle, his grind, bro. For real. You have to. Coming from Chicago during the time where it was the war, like, that's when they was going crazy, right? When Lil Durk, he was like, you know what I'm saying, him and Lil Durk, I was still waiting on the Lil Bibby tape. I forgot, Free Crack something to come out. It ain't ever coming out because he done went strategic on us. Juice WRLD, Kid LAROI, you know what I got to rap for? It ain't ever coming out. Shout out Lil Bibby, man.
Lil Bibby stated that it only took about 5 seconds for him to know LAROI was special, and even compared him to the first time he heard Juice WRLD's music.
I'm in the office with one of my homies, and they played me 5 seconds of this song of Kid LAROI. Once I heard them, I'm like, I need this kid. So once I heard him do that, and they say he's 15, I'm like, I just knew.
That same feeling of recognizing raw talent that could be molded into something much bigger. And Grade A wasn't just any label. It was the same camp that discovered Juice WRLD. And Juice didn't just co-sign LAROI. He embraced him like a little brother, becoming a mentor for him during those crucial early years. And this is when things really started to take off, because that mentorship gave LAROI credibility and put him directly in front of Juice WRLD's rapidly growing audience in the rap world. Yeah. However, when Juice WRLD tragically passed away in December 2019, LAROI not only lost a mentor, but also a big part of his identity in hip-hop. He dedicated songs to Juice and eventually appeared on the track Reminds Me of You. And around this time is when things got a little controversial, okay?
Hey, before we get back into the video, I got a way you can make some extra bread. I know you bored at home right now, bro. And all you have to do is play games and get paid for it. If you hit the link in my description or scan the QR code on the screen right now, you can sign up to freecash.com and start getting paid right now. And they make it extremely simple. First, just create an account like any other site and email and password. And once you get in, you'll see a wall of games and offers immediately. Pick a game that you actually like, play through the levels, and the cash will land straight into your free cash account. It's basically turning your downtime into a hustle without you even thinking about it. People pulling $10 to $20 a day, and with some effort, you can go way higher than that. You can spend a couple bucks in game to hit levels faster that'll ultimately give you bigger offers and payouts. That's the method on how some users end up making hundreds, even 500 or more on certain offers. But you don't have to spend any money. You can literally stick to the free levels and still cash out. The whole point is when you're taking a break from those Astral Dior videos, doom scrolling, looking at women, you can be playing and earning at the same time. Get to your money, bro. And once you run it up and want to cash out, you've got options of PayPal or gift cards. So if you want to get to that extra cheese, hit the link in the description or scan the code on the screen, sign up for free, and start playing for cash on your spare time. And when you use my link or QR code, you get $5 bonus to get you started, bro. Go ahead, get to it. Let's do it.
The record dropped on the 1-year anniversary of Juice's passing, and a lot of fans felt like the moment was being used to push LAROI forward instead of simply honoring Juice's legacy. And to them, it just didn't really feel organic. And while LAROI was only 17 years old at the time, the backlash he received was very strong. I said it back then and I'll say it again, I never blamed a 17-year-old kid for the timing a label chose. Labels are always going to do what labels do, unless it's blatantly clear that someone's writing a legacy for clout. I think LAROI, at the time, you know, considering his age, obviously deserved some grace. And I just want to emphasize, especially at that age, he was 17 years old, it's only fair.
They are telling him what you are gonna do, not, hey, this is what you should do, this is how you should do it. No, you're doing this, boom, you sign to us, your label, your album will drop this day, or your tape, whatever, your song, your single, whatever you're doing, it will drop on this day. Okay? Right.
We all know how little control most young artists have over those kinds of decisions. If you hate the timing, 9 times out of 10, that's a corporate call. Now, this was the beginning of a bigger narrative forming around him. Some people saw him as Juice WRLD's natural prodigy, while others felt like he was being forced onto the culture. Even with all the backlash, LAROI's career was moving very fast. His monthly listeners on Spotify skyrocketed to the point where he ended up surpassing Lil Uzi Vert, and then the conversation really exploded when people noticed that he had more monthly listeners than Kendrick Lamar himself, who at the time hadn't dropped a solo project in 4 years. Wow. And to me, that whole debate was kind of unnecessary because monthly listeners isn't a great way to measure loyalty. All it really shows is how many unique people streamed at least one of your songs in the last 28 days. If someone stumbles on your music in a playlist and never play it again, they still count. If your biggest fan listens to you 100 times that month, they still only count once. So it's really more about reach than anything else.
Word.
And LAROI at that moment had massive reach. His songs were spiking everywhere, driving those numbers higher than any artist who hadn't released in years. Kendrick. So it's useful for showing how wide that net is, but it doesn't necessarily reflect a core fan base. For that, you obviously look at hard tickets. Who's showing up to your shows? And because LAROI blew up in quarantine, we didn't really have that data yet. Also, there's the novelty effect. New face, new voice, new story. The first 12 to 18 months of a hot rookie can outstream veterans who are between eras. Doesn't mean that the rookie is bigger in the long run. It just means that their name is hotter and more in circulation at that time. But logic didn't stop comparisons. People were still shocked to see a teenager from Australia pulling in bigger numbers, streaming numbers, than icons like Kendrick. And that shock quickly turned into accusations. Was LAROI an industry plant? Was he being pushed by the machine? Or was he simply that hot? The division was obviously
both. They pushed him. They were pushing him heavy, bro. They was putting him in these, like, and certain people wanted to get with him. I remember Internet Money. They was like, "Yo, how could it?" During that time, that sound, it was just perfect for the time, for the moment, bro. They had him collabing with the right people. His joint was just going so crazy. His voice on a good feature. He had a good feature voice, like. It was just all perfect.
Clear,
bro.
because on one side you had fans
it was laying it out itself, and he kicking it with Juice WRLD, seeing how he worked. It was just perfect.
calling him the next big thing. On the other, people dismissed his rise as manufactured. And honestly, at that particular time, I can see why the industry plant accusations kept coming up. LAROI was rising so fast that to a lot of people, it almost didn't really look real. But in reality, that kind of momentum is exactly what happens when an artist hits the right moment with the right songs. On top of that, he was getting a heavy push from the industry, which only amplified the perception, right? But that push is also what introduced him to a wider audience, because many of the fans who ride for him today first discovered his name and face during that exact period where he was really exploding. Meanwhile, as the discourse was happening online, LAROI kept leveling up. He collaborated with Miley Cyrus, gained co-signs from...
Look how it starts to switch. You feel me? Miley Cyrus, Justin Bieber. Look how it starts to, okay, now watch when we put you with these people. Watch how you go crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Justin Bieber, who eventually later became his friend and mentor and started making his way deeper into the pop world. At this point, he signed with Scooter Braun, one of the biggest managers in the music industry, and the longtime manager of Justin Bieber himself. Scooter's roster isn't small fish.
Look, here we go. Look. Demi Lovato. I didn't know. I'm not here. I didn't know she was going this crazy. But Ariana Grande, come on now. Let me show you how to get right though, Kid LAROI. You know what I'm saying? You mess around with these niggas in Chicago, you feel me? Let me show you how to get right though.
We're talking about Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande, Demi Lovato. From a business lens, this move made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Grade A helped break him, but Scooter's world is built to scale a pop act globally. So the tension was, could that machine move as fast as LAROI wanted with him in the driver's seat? Now, just 3 months later, LAROI left Scooter's camp. Reports said it was because Brown promised to be directly involved, but he wasn't. And LAROI also had issues with decisions being made without his input. He then moved on to work with talent manager Adam Leber, only to eventually return to Brown for a period of time. And all this behind-the-scenes chaos showed how messy the business side of things were for LAROI at the time, even while his popularity was skyrocketing.
That's a good song right there, boy. Them white boys right there know how to sing, man. That's a great song right there, boy.
And then came the song Stay. Now, this song wasn't just a hit, it was a global smash. Stay reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, #1 on the Global 200, and topped the charts in over 20 countries, including places like Germany, the Netherlands, and Sweden. It became LAROI's first #1 record, Bieber's 8, and one of the biggest records of the decade so far. Like, this song was huge. Some people might be like, what are you talking about, biggest songs of the decade? If you think you haven't heard the song, you've probably heard the song.
No,
that's how big it was.
You heard it.
Because there was a period of time where this song was quite literally everywhere. I vividly remember hearing it in malls, on the radio, in public spaces.
Definitely at the mall, yeah. Stop playing. You walking to the mall, you walking to whatever fucking store, that's gonna be playing.
I felt like I couldn't really escape it, even if I wanted to. It was a good song, though. I liked it. And this is exactly what I personally predicted when he signed with Scooter. Because obviously you could see that LAROI was of course, headed in that pop direction. He had records like Without You and then So Done. Those were 2 songs that opened up that lane for him. And then Stay just slammed the door behind him and, locked it and threw away the keys, right? So he was most definitely in that pop lane from that point. So he wasn't just dabbling in pop. He was fully there. He was committed to that. And he had left behind a rap lane that first embraced him and officially crossed over into pop stardom. But here's the flip side. While LAROI was winning globally, his presence in the hip-hop culture in the rap world started to fade.
Yeah, because what he gonna do? What is he gonna do in the rap world, bro? What, bro? Listen, what I'm making. I'm with Justin Bieber in there. I'm not. Ain't nothing to talk about. I'm not. I ain't got no loyalty to. I ain't got no loyalty to y'all, man. I'm where I'm supposed to be at. I'm not mad at him. You feel me? I'm not mad at him, bro. People be doing that, abusing certain cultures and things and sounds all the time, and they're going on with their business. Hey, do what you feel like you gotta do. That's just in your moral compass. That's just not where you lie, and that's okay. Shit, you feel me? That's all right. Do how you do it. If that's not you morally, that's fine. Me personally, I'm gonna go take what I gotta get. You feel me? But I'm not about to just leave what brought me, what got me to where I'm supposed to be, where got me where I'm at. You feel me? But again, he ain't got no loyalty to black culture. For what? I'm from Australia, nigga. I just wanted to turn up. I like the music, but maybe if Juice WRLD was still here. But other than that, man, I got songs with Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande to make.
Same fans who once championed him as Juice WRLD's little brother no longer looked at him as part of the rap conversation. And around this time is when LAROI started receiving a lot of hate, mainly from the rap community. Aside from the industry plant accusations, he was also on the receiving end of the culture vulture label that we've seen a lot of white
that's what happened. That's true.
Artists get once they come up through hip hop and then transition out of it. Nowadays we call it the Post Malone formula, right? Because Post Malone is a great example of this. He caught the same criticism early on with White Iverson. That's how most people found Post Malone. And then before he cemented himself as a global act, he had the image of a rapper. He kind of had the sauce of a rapper and the style of a rapper, right? His music was influenced by hip hop and rap in general, right? And then he pivoted from that. With that being said though, LAROI became the type of artist who could dominate mainstream charts, but no longer had that same core credibility in rap. So from that perspective, LAROI faded away, and at a certain point, a lot of rap fans simply stopped paying attention to him. Now, although the rap community stopped paying attention to LAROI a while ago, ever since his departure from rap, LAROI has actually made a massive mark in the pop world. It was really after Stay that things went to a whole new level. That record alone did billions of streams and cemented him as a young global superstar, but even outside of Stay, he stacked multiple other hits that kept his momentum alive. And for all the monthly listeners, fanatics out there, he's actually sitting at over 40 million today, which is insane, right? And that puts him in the 90 most streamed artists in the world right now on Spotify. Wow. Crazy. And then when you bring concerts into the conversation, that's where it gets even more real, because streams can be debated, playlists can inflate numbers, but you can't fake people showing up. And LAROI actually sold out nearly 30,000 fans in his hometown of Sydney last year, which I was very surprised to hear this. I'll be honest with you. I knew that he was successful, but I didn't know he could do 30,000. That's a lot, man. That's literally a stadium crowd. Like, that's insane to me, because I did not know he had that kind of pull. I think it's interesting to see how someone who was once considered Juice WRLD's protege is now standing fully on his own. He went from being introduced as Juice WRLD's little brother to becoming one of the biggest young pop stars in the world, right? And while hip-hop may have stopped checking for him, the numbers don't really lie. It looks like the kid LAROI ended up finding his lane, and he's thriving in it. And although I'm not the biggest fan of his music, I like a few of his songs. You gotta salute the work. You gotta salute the success. Because there's a lot of rappers in that lane who blew up around that time, and then they didn't really do anything with it. This guy actually took that momentum and found a lot of success, and I think that's very admirable, especially at such a young age. I think a lot of artists, when they blow up at a certain age, let's say if they're 17, 16, a lot of times they don't really find their way in the end.
Yeah, it's too much, or they fall into the distractions of whether that be whatever substance, whatever girls, whatever that is. Not saying I don't know if he's in that, but he was able to do it enough to, or not do it enough to where he was able to still keep his head on his shoulders and get the work in, put the work in.
And that's a harsh reality for a lot of artists who blow up young, especially if they're getting a lot of criticism early on. It kind of throws them off balance, right? And it takes a lot for an artist to end up thriving in their own lane and finding their own identity, especially when you're young. I'm very curious what you guys have to say, though. When it comes to the Kid LAROI and everything that's happened with his career, have you still been paying attention to him since he went?
No. I that's not my world of music. But, you know, I know a good song when it comes on, though. You feel me? That being said, y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Like the video, sub, comment that bitch with the channel. Alea, I appreciate y'all. Great for y'all.